Hi everybody, today I'm going to teach you a class and there's going to be a little bit of ball rolling. You'll also need a block. Any ball will work, a yoga tune-up ball, a tennis ball, a lacrosse ball. And so we're going to work the arm lines, the chest and the upper back and the arms. And we could call this class Yoga for Anxiety and Depression. I kind of like how it combines the two. So we're going to work the organ pairs, the heart and the small intestines, which is an arm line, and that is connected to anxiety. And then we're also going to work the lungs and the large intestines, which is also along the arms, and that is connected with depression. So when we kind of get the chi moving in our arms, it can help with anxiety and depression because it is a spectrum, and we usually have kind of lean towards one or the other, but have tendencies for both. So I kind of like that this can balance both anxiety and depression. So today we're going to start at the wall. You're going to need a block and the ball, and then we'll get over to the floor in a little bit. So this ball work, we're trying to get into the chest here. So I kind of like to maybe just start with the hand, and you kind of start at the upper chest and start in the middle and work your way out towards the shoulder. Come to the middle, work your way out towards the shoulder. And so for some people, just with the hand and the ball could be enough. If you want to get the ball on the wall, you'll take the block just so your head's not like right in the wall. That's really the only purpose of the block. But you're going to work the same way. So you're taking the ball and you kind of have to just test out like where it is, and you might have to move it a little bit, and that's fine. But you're just going to start going laterally from kind of like the center of the chest out towards the armpit. So when I learned this chest rolling, I kind of didn't realize how tight my chest was, and it became like one of my favorite things to do. I also really like to open the chest first, and then we get over into the back. So we're going to kind of start here, and then you just turn into like a little exploration. You kind of find the spots that feel good to you. I really, there's like this spot kind of right here, like next to your armpit, like not in the armpit. You don't want to go in the armpit, but this spot kind of right here. And that's like a spot I like to hang out in. So you kind of find a spot, and then you take like some long breaths, long exhale. Try to relax your face and your jaw. And then if you want to play with moving the arm around a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and switch sides actually. So you're going to take the arm to sort of like a goalpost shape. It's kind of one way to start. So you're kind of pinning the ball in whatever super juicy spot you want to stay. And then you bring the arm to like a goalpost. The elbow's straight out from the shoulder, so it's not way down here. The arm's pretty high. And then start with just a little pushing. The hand is pushing into the wall. So that's just creating a little bit of strength in your arm. And then you can play with sliding the hand up a little higher, and it just kind of changes the sensation. You can play with stretching your hand out a little longer, still doing your best to keep the shoulder on the back plane of the body. You don't want the shoulder rolling in just to get the hand out. So I'm kind of pushing into the wall so I can get my shoulder back a little more. And then I find the spot, and then it's fine to slide the hand up and down. It's fine to bend your knees a little bit, like you're doing a little bit of a squat. And then maybe get a little bit of more movement again. So you kind of pin, you breathe, you hold, you play with a little movement in the arm, and then you'll just repeat, move the ball a little bit and find another kind of tender spot. And then eventually you'll kind of work your way down like the wing of the shoulder blade and the wing of the back of the heart. So take the arm up to the sky. And remember not to go in your armpit, but you want to kind of just skim around under the shoulder blade. And this is actually like a really sweet spot I like to hang out in, kind of on the side a little bit. Gets a little awkward with the block, and you just do your best. Eventually, kind of when you're working your way around, you can let the block go and just get on the wall there. I feel like once your head isn't in the wall, you can let the block go. So I'm just playing like right under the wing of the shoulder blade. Again, you can play with taking the arm in different directions. I'm doing this little up and down, but you can also keep going laterally, side to side. And again, it's just an exploration in your own body. And it's fine to experiment. So maybe you add a little bit of a stretch here. And just really take your time. Eventually, you're rolling onto your back. And I'm going to switch sides again just so you can see. But you're staying on one side. So you're working on one side of the front and staying on that same side on the back, and then you'll do the second side front and roll onto the back. So kind of getting eventually onto the back door with like lines and grooves. So staying kind of high on your upper back, this is where you can kind of just imagine like a bear scratching on a tree. So going along the shoulder blade, I like to get a little bit higher, kind of up in this upper back, like the top of the shoulder. It's a really good spot. So take that first bit to play around. Try not to go right on the spine. You want to stay more on the muscles right next to the spine, the muscles on the top of the shoulder, or you can go across the wing of the shoulder blade, that's fine, just not on the spine. So then you play with the pinning. So you kind of find your spot, pin, take the arms forward, and then take the arm across the body. And then, so you just winged your shoulder blade out, and you can try to kind of get the ball under the wing of the shoulder. You can even hold your arm. Ooh. And again, just, you know, playing with the movement. Maybe your arm goes up and around. It just kind of changes the sensation. So we're trying to work lubricating the fascia. So the fascia is just all the connective tissue that holds your muscles, your body together. It's like a web or a net you can think of, but it's also like in your muscles too. So when we don't move our muscles, or when we kind of are in one position, like driving or typing for too long, your muscles start to get glued and stuck in this really not best alignment shape. So we just kind of use the ball to lubricate and get the muscles so they can move a little bit better and slide a little bit better. So when you feel ready, just take a moment and pause and feel the differences on the right and left side of your body. Maybe one arm feels a little bit, for me it feels like a little bit longer. You can take the arms up to the sky and just compare maybe the range of motion in the shoulders and the chest. Bend the elbows, feel the difference in right and left. reach up again. And then get ready for second side. So starting with the chest on your second side. So lateral roll, actually here. I kept switching sides, I can't remember. So start with center of the chest, out towards the armpit, and again, only using the hand is just fine and also very effective. Like I feel a lot just doing that. So side to side, you can go a little bit up and down. You don't want to go too low in your chest, like definitely stay up in the muscle area. Like right under your collarbone is good. You don't want to go up in the throat. And then finding your pin spot where you want to pin. Like for me, it's this like right there. I think it's like your chest and your arm are connecting right here, and it's like super juicy. And then any movement with the arms. So I like to do this one where you kind of push a little bit of, we'll actually do something similar on the floor in a little bit. But for now, pushing into the wall, pulling the shoulder away from the wall, and here sliding up or even walking your hands out. Don't go below the shoulder. So stay up here. And then long breathing, long exhale. And keep going. So a little bit of that push just to create the strength in the muscles, and then you try to stretch or even push a little bit more, and then maybe you move just a little bit. And then you can have a little bit more movement again. I like to kind of do the rub, then the pin, and then the rub again. And then eventually you're kind of taking the arm up to the sky and getting down like under the wing of the shoulder blade. And at this point I like to let the block go. So you can kind of feel like where the wing of the shoulder blade starts to kind of pop out or like wing out. And that's where you want to play with getting under that and like under the bone even. Especially as you get around. So this, like working the arms and like especially right here and like under the armpit, not in the armpit, is really good for, you know, when you work with your hands a lot. So if you text or type a lot, or maybe if you do construction and you're like always like pulling a trigger or swinging a hammer, so like all of that is really good. Like this right here is really good for that, where you're using your hands. Weed whacking, I weed whacked the other day and I could feel it. So eventually coming onto your back, and then it's a little bit more kind of just rolling around, like staying on that kind of upper shoulder, the wing on the back of the heart. You can go across the shoulder blade. You can go up and down. Try to get up here a little bit into the traps. It's a pretty juicy spot right there. And then kind of find like right next to your spine, the muscles, so not on top of the spine, right next to it. So like in between the wing of your shoulder blade and the spine. And then take your arm straight out and bring it across your body. So I'm gonna go over here, I already did that side. So bring it across the body. And then the shoulder blade winged out, you try to get under it a little bit. And then again, if you find a spot where you need a little extra tension and breath, like most likely if you want to move out of it, is probably a spot you should stay a little bit. As long as it's not really painful. Like, you can tell the difference, you start to learn over time the difference between pain and sensation, and where you can breathe and what you can breathe through, and what you need to stop doing. So just, you start to learn your body over time and give yourself permission to stop if you need to, or to change it a little bit so it's better for your body. So maybe you move up a little bit with the arm, or wide. Just take another moment or two on this side, kind of wrap it up. And then once again, taking a moment to feel and compare. And maybe take your arms wide this time. Just a couple breaths. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, pushing down. I'm just feeling the difference, or hopefully a little bit more balanced. Exhale. Little shoulder roll, shake it out. Bring one hand to your heart, one hand onto your belly, and then see if you can notice, so we work the upper back, we work the chest and the shoulders. See if you can notice any differences in any other parts of the body, like maybe your wrists and fingers. Maybe even through the belly a little bit, the neck, the face. Is there less tension in your face? Gently open your eyes. So from here, we're going to move on to the floor. All right, so a little more arm line with some yoga poses on the floor. So come onto your belly. And then you can make a pillow with your hands just to start. And just take a moment to arrive here. Maybe take a couple big breaths. Feel your belly push into the ground as you breathe. Relax your neck and face, so let your forehead land. Maybe wiggle your hips a little bit. So from here, you're going to take your right arm straight out to the side like a T. And you can go a little bit higher than your shoulder. Again, you don't want to go lower than your shoulder like we were doing at the wall. So a little bit higher than your shoulder, kind of more like a Y. Push your hand down into the floor. Lift your shoulder up to the sky. So I'm really pulling my shoulder up towards the sky. And then roll onto your right hip. So I'm doing right arm out. Roll onto the right hip. And push the hand down into the floor to keep it strong. And then from there, once you roll, you can maybe walk your fingers out just a little bit more. So you might like to have a block here under your head. That's actually what I would prefer. And big breath into this chest and armpit space. So my top leg is kind of stepping behind, but you can just have your feet stacked. That's mine too. I'm going to show you from behind. It's like this. So straight out from the shoulder, a little bit higher, push the hand down, lift the shoulder up, and then roll. So it is okay to let your head drop. I also prefer, sometimes I prefer, like today I feel like keeping it more in alignment. So you can have the head lifted into alignment, which is why a block might be nice under the head. So pushing the handprint down into the floor, breathing into the chest. I'm doing a video about. And long exhales, and maybe after the first few breaths, you can maybe walk your hand just a little bit longer. This is one of my favorites. Ooh, I could stay here for a while. So I'm working really hard to keep lifting my shoulder up away from the floor. I don't want to roll it down onto the floor and then roll on it and put all my weight on that. So I'm trying really hard to keep the shoulder plugged into the back of the heart. I'm trying not to lock my elbow. I'm pushing the handprint down, keeping the muscles strong. And then come back to center when you're ready. Again, make a pillow with your hands and just pause and feel. And then taking the left arm out. Same thing, straight out from the shoulder, up a little bit. Push your hand down. Lift your shoulder up away from the floor as you start to roll. So as you roll, or as I roll, I start to walk my hand a little bit longer. Kind of once I roll onto the side, I feel like my arm wants to go longer. You can also bend the elbow a little bit into more of a cactus shape. Keep pulling the shoulder up towards the sky. Big breath into the chest and the armpit. Just do kind of whatever feels good for your legs. I'm stepping my foot behind, but however your legs want to go is fine. Head down or on a block or even just holding it in alignment is fine too. Like on one side I like to keep my head in alignment, and the other side I like to drop my head down. But I do try to do whichever I choose. I try to do it the same on both sides, and just as long as it's intentional and you know you're doing it for a reason. So this other hand is kind of like a kickstand, just supporting me. So again, listening to your body, and you find the spot that feels like it's intense but not painful. And if it is painful, then you need to change something, and you just start to learn over time in your own body. So again, maybe after a few breaths, you can wiggle out just a little bit longer. This is my tighter side for sure. So walking my hand out a little bit longer, but also think about wrapping the shoulder, the wing of the back of the heart, like snuggling it a little more onto the back of the heart. Whew. And then come back to center. Give it a little rest, a pause and a feel. So pillow with the hands. If it feels nice to have the arms down after that, you can do that too. Go here. And then, so you could also do this at the wall with your, standing like we did with the ball, but you could do that stretch without the ball. Just know that you can do that as well. On the floor, it makes it just a little bit more intense. So this next one, you'll kind of start on your side. So take your top leg and swing it out in front of you. So I'm flexing the foot, spreading the toes. Okay, so you take this top leg out, stretch it out in front, but spread the toes, keep the feet strong. Just kind of lay on your side. And then bend the bottom leg. So we're getting a quad stretch on this bottom leg to grab the foot. So pulling the heel towards your bum. Button up your pants. So imagine you're wearing jeans. You kind of button your pants and zip them up, thinking about pulling the bottom of the ribs towards the hips. And pulling that in, make your core really strong. So pulling the heel towards your butt, you're thinking about closing the knee joint. And then if you want a little more, and this is where more of the chest opening comes in, you start to slowly open your chest and kind of come more into a twist on your back. So I really love this pose because it kind of gets a lot of things all in one pose. You're getting the chest and a twist and some leg work here. It's a little bit of the outer leg on this one and the quad stretch on that bottom leg. So it's kind of a great all-around pose. Big breath in. So it is fine to stay here with your head on your elbow. If it's a little bit too much to open into that twist. Or if when you open into the twist you want to let go of this bottom foot, that's fine too. So take a big breath into that top armpit. And breathe all the way down that whole top side ribs and lungs towards the top hip. And then take your hand, whichever hand really, into this top hip. And you're just going to kind of stick your thumb in there. I'm just doing both hands. You can do one hand. And kind of draw that hip down. You're just trying to get a little more space in your waist here. So maybe take the hand that's on the bottom, push that thigh bone away. And then you can open this top arm open a little bit more. And see if you can just snuggle the shoulder a little more onto the back of the heart. If you want to work just a little bit deeper twist, push your head down, your skull down, so you can kind of puff up your chest a little bit. I'm also using my elbows. Push the elbows down to lift the heart and slide the bottom shoulder a little bit more towards that toe that's over there. And then maybe you can snuggle that top shoulder more onto the ground.
Wow. I'm standing on your butt. Wow, wow. Wow. Wow.
And then from here, when you're ready, come back into your belly. Pause and feel. And then switch sides. You can just roll onto your other side. I'm going to turn. So I really enjoy this. I just learned this way of getting into this pose. Well, I've done it before where you start on your back, but I really like the starting on your side version. So you're taking the top leg, swing it across. So you want it roughly straight out from your hip here. And you don't want to lock the knee. A little bend is fine. And still work your feet as best you can so the ankle's nice and straight. And then you're bending that bottom leg. So you start with just grabbing the toes. So when I grab my toe, I try to get the shoulder back. And that'll actually get my arm closer to grabbing the foot. If the shoulder is forward, it's just a lot harder to grab the foot. So I get the shoulder back, and then the foot's a lot more accessible. So pulling the heel towards your butt. Then if you need more sensation, more quad stretch, you button your pants, zip them up. Think about stretching from the bottom ribs down the knee, like you're growing that bottom knee longer.
Mama, look at me. I'm on your horsey.
So other things you could do here is put like a block or a blanket or bolster under this leg. so it wouldn't be quite as deep a twist. Eventually rolling more onto the back if you're up for that. So hanging onto this foot still or letting it go. Big breath into that top armpit. Breathe down the whole side body. And then start to bring the hands into that hip. I actually like to push on this thigh bone, like push that whole thigh bone away. Nice big belly breath. Breathe into your belly. Breathe into your lungs. Breathe into your heart. So if you want to work that deeper twist, elbows push down, skull pushes down, and you just puff up your chest to kind of wiggle the shoulders towards this straight leg over here. Some people might be able to grab both feet. So you'd grab the feet and imagine that you're stretching your legs apart. Just a couple more breaths here. Relax your face and jaw. Still working the feet just a little bit, just so it's not a floppy leg. Pull the toes back. And then again, slowly unwind, really lazy. Come onto your belly. Just give yourself a moment in neutral. And then come into your back just for one little kind of a neutralizing pose. So you'll come onto your back. Just take a moment there, feeling the feet on the earth. And then step your feet a little bit wide, like as wide as your mat, and just really slowly windshield wiper the knees. So take a big inhale, and then exhale, let the knees fall to the right. Inhale back to center. Knees fall to the left, and just go at your own pace.
My mama.
And then I like to let my head roll a little bit too. All right, thanks everybody for working the arm line. I'll see you guys soon.